All right, everyone. I hope you are charged up because it's time to jump into our next exciting session. Our next session explores crypto agility in automotive real-time systems in the context of post-quantum cryptography. As the quantum computers threaten existing asymmetric algorithms, modern software-defined vehicles need flexible approaches to update cryptography in resource-constrained ECUs while maintaining the real-time performance. And this presentation proposes concepts for implementing the post-quantum cryptography, post-quantum algorithms on AUTOSAR Classic Platform ECUs and evaluates them on different automotive microcontroller generations. Just a note, we will play a pre-recorded presentation from speakers followed by live Q&A sessions where you will have an opportunity to talk or ask questions directly to the speakers. Speakers will be available all time on the stage. It will be the live recording along with that. As soon as the recording gets over, they will be available to take your questions from the stage. Joining us on stage for Q&A are Martin Mantel, lead software engineer, embedded security, specializing in post-quantum cryptography and secure runtime environments for automotive ECUs. Philip Junklas, team manager, embedded security, focusing on multi-core microcontrollers and secure embedded systems. And the next, Dr. Claude Pascal Tobin Smith, technical sales manager, cluster SDV enabler, with expertise in embedded software development and cybersecurity engaging engineering for software-defined vehicles. So let's please welcome Martin, Philip, and Claude on stage. Also, just a note, please post your questions in the Q&A section or Q&A tab. We will be taking those questions by end of the session. Thank you. Stage is yours, Martin and Claude. I'll be playing the recordings now.
Automotive real-time systems in the context of post-quantum cryptography. Together with my co-presenters Martin and Pascal, we will give you a brief insight into our work on implementing post-quantum cryptography for automotive control units. But before we get started with the technical details, we would like to briefly explain our motivations for developing an open-source library for post-quantum cryptography for embedded systems. Current studies on the commercial availability of quantum computers assume that they will be available within the next 5 to 10 years. Unlike our classic computers, quantum computers can solve certain mathematical problems on which our modern cryptography is based very efficiently. Thanks to Shor's algorithm, booth, prime factorization, and discrete logarithm can be calculated effectively, which makes modern asymmetric cryptography vulnerable. Asymmetric cryptography is used to implement both key exchange mechanism and digital signatures. To be prepared for this threat, NIST began a multi-stage selection process for appropriate algorithm 8 years ago. The aim is to select algorithms that offers the necessary security in the age of quantum computers and can also be calculated on conventional computers. NIST has decided on a multi-stage selection process, which is currently in its 4th round at the time of this presentation. Due to the lengthy selection process, current and upcoming microcontroller generations do not offer hardware support for these modern algorithms. In order to protect existing systems against attacks by quantum computers, implementation in software is therefore essential. Another important factor for the implementation of cryptographic algorithms in software is the concept of the software-defined vehicle. In this approach, the vehicle's functionalities are no longer defined by the built-in hardware, but primarily by the software, which can be continuously expanded. To implement new features, it is therefore essential to ensure that the vehicle can be updated on an ongoing basis. To this end, this vehicle must have a permanent online connection, which represents a potential attack vector. In order for a vehicle to provide the necessary security over its entire service life, it is essential that security-related functions can be updated in the same way as the rest of the SDVs. This also includes cryptographic algorithms, which must be updatable and completely replaceable over the vehicle's lifetime. This approach, known as crypto agility, has become increasingly important again with the threat posed by quantum computers, as disruptive technological advances can also make entire algorithms vulnerable to attack. So how can crypto agility be implemented in automotive control units? To answer this question, we ported all algorithms selected by NIST at the time of this presentation for automotive control units. NIST has currently selected 5 algorithms comprising 2 key encapsulation mechanisms and 3 digital signatures. For the integration of post-quantum algorithm into automotive control units, it is important that the existing software has an extendable architecture. Furthermore, the implementation must be both secure and high performance, as even modern microcontrollers have limited resources. In addition, software implementations in vehicles are subject to high requirements in terms of code quality, which are defined, for example, by the MISRA standard. The AUTOSAR standard is mainly used for automotive control units in Europe. The AUTOSAR consortium was founded in 2003 and has attempted to standardize the software used in automotive control units. Over the years, AUTOSAR has defined 2 different standards that differ in terms of the target hardware. While the AUTOSAR Classic Platform was designed for microcontroller-based control units, the adaptive platform is intended for microprocessor-based systems. Today's presentation will focus on the AUTOSAR Classic Platform. The AUTOSAR Classic Platform divides the software into 3 main layers. The application layer contains actual functionality. One example is the control of an electrical motor. The basic software is used to control the actual hardware, such as the ADCs or the PWM. The RTE works as a connection layer between these 2 main layers. AUTOSAR further divides the basic software into 3 sublayers, which differ in terms of their degree of abstraction from the hardware used. The microcontroller abstraction layer abstracts the used microcontroller. The MCAL thus provides all driver modules for controlling the hardware. The ECU abstraction layer above connects all peripherals that are outside the actual microcontroller but a part of the ECU. An example of these is the connection of an external TPM. The service layer provides all functionalities as independent services that the application software can access via the RTE. The AUTOSAR crypto stack is divided into 3 components: Crypto Service Manager, Crypto Interface, and Crypto Driver. The Crypto Service Manager provides all cryptographic services of the control unit as services for the applications. Example includes the generation of random numbers, the encryption of messages, and the management and storage of key material. The crypto interface connects the various crypto drivers in the system. These can be external TPMs or internal hardware security modules, for example. The crypto driver provides the necessary cryptographic primitives. AUTOSAR distinguishes between 2 variants: crypto driver hardware, which connects hardware security modules, and crypto driver software, which calculates the required cryptographic primitives in software. As can be seen in the figure, AUTOSAR supports multiple crypto drivers, which are managed by the crypto interface. Due to the possibility of integrating multiple crypto drivers into AUTOSAR, modern post-quantum algorithms can be implemented as additional crypto drivers and integrated into existing systems. Due to the lack of hardware support, implementation in software is currently the only option. For today's presentation, we are using our own implementation called IIV QuantumSAR to evaluate the resource requirements of post-quantum algorithm. IIV QuantumSAR is a software library that implements modern post-quantum algorithm in an AUTOSAR-compliant manner while minimizing resource consumption. To this end, IIV QuantumSAR consists of two main components. The first part includes the actual post-quantum algorithm, which are implemented in the C programming language and are platform independent. The entire codebase has been available as an open source repository on GitHub since the beginning of our development work. The link to the codebase is shown on the last slides. When implementing these algorithms, we focused on creating an extendable architecture as NIST intends to standardize additional post-quantum algorithms. A minor note, we are currently working on an implementation in Rust for microcontrollers, but this is still in development. As soon as it is running stable, we will also make the codebase available. The second main component is the wrapper, which can be used to adapt the post-quantum algorithm to different systems. The first implementation is for the AUTOSAR Classic Platform. Based on our open source implementation, we evaluate all currently standardized post-quantum algorithms on two different microcontroller generations. The two hardware platforms are two derivatives from Infineon's RX family. Both microcontrollers are based on the proprietary tri-core architecture, which is used in different versions. The Infineon RX TC277 is a triple-core processor with a clock speed of 200 MHz. The first processor core is an efficiency core, which has reduced performance compared to the other performance cores. However, the efficiency core is used to evaluate the computing time, as the performance cores of the TC277 are similar in architecture to the TC399 from the second RX generation. By using the efficiency core, the performance gains achieved through the architectural improvements of the tri-core architecture can be demonstrated. The TC399 from the second RX generation is used, which offers 6 cores with a clock speed of 300 MHz. Unlike the TC277, the TC399 has only performance cores. The IAV firmware security module is used as a software platform. This is a secure runtime environment that has been specially developed for automotive real-time systems. We have also taken care to use primarily open source solutions for this software. For this reason, the Erika OS operating system is used, which is AUTOSAR compliant, also available as an open source solution, and support the RX family from Infineon. The RX peripherals are controlled using the Infineon low-level driver, which is provided by Infineon as an open source solution suitable for the RX family. Only processor core 0 of the respective RX derivatives is started for the measurement. The other processor cores are deactivated to prevent concurrent accesses to shared memory from causing variations in runtime. Furthermore, only the local scratch pads of processor core 0 are used, as only these offer the highest access speed. The runtime is measured via clock accuracy using the RX performance counter. All post-quantum algorithms that have been standardized by NIST to date are implemented for the measurement. These include the two key encapsulation mechanisms MLKEM and HQC, as well as the three signature algorithms MLDSA, FNDSA, and SLHDSA in all variants. Before we get to the measurement results, I would like to briefly show a photo of our extensive test setup. In my opinion, any presentation about embedded systems is improved by a photo of a microcontroller. This photo shows the more powerful Infineon RX TC399. It is connected to the test computer via a debugger from Lauterbach. The Lauterbach debugger can be used to read the measured values from the performance counters. In the age of quantum computers, the asymmetric encryption method MLKEM, formerly known as Crystal Kyber, was developed for secure key exchange and standardized as FIPS 203. Similar to MLDSA and FNDSA, the cryptographic system MLKEM is based on the mathematical lattice problem. To enable a broad range of applications, MLKM offers 3 different implementations: NIST 1, NIST 3, and NIST 5, which differ in their NIST security level and their required resources. For the first series of measurements, we tested all 3 variants of the MLKM key encapsulation mechanism, separately logging the 3 substeps of key pair generation, encapsulation, and decapsulation. As can be seen in the measurement series for the TC277, the runtime increased significantly with increasing security levels of the MLKEM. Compared to the TC277, the TC399 requires significantly less computing time. This is due to its more powerful architecture and higher processor clock speed, which reduce the calculation time by nearly 50%. The runtime for the MLKEM is acceptable on both RX derivatives. This makes the MLKEM suitable for real-time automotive systems. This enables its use in secure vehicle diagnostic or in communication between an electrical vehicle and the charging infrastructure. In addition to MLKEM, NIST has also selected a second key encapsulation mechanism, which, in contrast to MLKEM, is not based on the lattice problem, but on the so-called error correction codes. Since HQC was only recently selected, there is no official standard from NIST yet. In contrast to MLKEM, HQC requires significantly more computing time and memory, which is why only HQC 128 can be executed on the TC77 from the scratch pads. Execution from the global memory of the TC277 is for the other variants possible, but this increases the computing time even further, which is why these results are not shown here. In contrast to the TC277, the RX TC399 has significantly larger scratch pads, which is why it can execute all 3 variants of the HQC. Like the MLKEM, the computing time for the HQC also increased significantly as the security level rises. Due to the high computing load of the HQC, it is currently not suitable for embedded real-time systems. This slide compares the computing time of MLKEM with that of HQC at the same security level on the same hardware platform. The highest NIST security level is selected for both variants. The aim is to show the worst-case computing time. As can be seen, the resource consumption of HQC is significantly higher than that of MLKEM. What both algorithms have in common is the fact that the key pair generation is significantly faster compared to the other 2 steps. While encapsulation and decapsulation take approximately the same amount of time with MLKEM, the computing time for decapsulation increases further with HQC compared to encapsulation. Based on current measurements, only MLKEM is suitable for use in automotive real-time systems. To calculate the memory consumption, we identified the different types of memory separately for each algorithm. It is important to note that memory consumption can vary depending on the application. If a signature algorithm does not require the calculation of the key pair or the calculation of a signature, the memory requirements are lower. This is the case, for example, if only signature verification is required during a software update process. To measure the memory requirements, both the RAM and ROM requirements were determined for each algorithm. A further distinction is made between whether the RAM is variable or stack. For ROM, a distinction is made between code and constants. Since automotive real-time systems are based exclusively on static memory allocation, the distinction between variables and stack is particularly important. The variables reserve the corresponding RAM memory permanently, which must be taken into account. In the case of ROM, the distinction between code and constants is also relevant. For example, the constants can be stored in the data cache, while the code is temporarily stored in the code cache. Depending on the implementation of the system, this has a significant impact on the memory management. As can be seen in the table, all memory requirements are specified in bytes. For the MLKEM algorithm, it has been shown that the memory requirements for variables, the stack, and constants increase with the security level. In contrast, the code size remains relatively constant. Depending on the system load, RAM requirements can be a problem, as MLKM requires a total of over 32 kilobyte at the highest security level. Modern automotive real-time systems generally have suitable large memory capacities, which is why MLKM can be used. Unlike MLKM, HQC requires significantly more RAM and RAM memory. Stack consumption in specific is a major problem at all security levels, which is why it cannot currently be used in embedded real-time systems. As with MLKM, the memory consumptions of variables, the stack, and constants increase with rising security levels. In contrast, the memory requirements of the program code also remain constant. In addition to the KEM algorithms, NIST has specified 3 signature algorithms. For the signature algorithms, the 3 intermediate steps of key pair generation, signature calculation, and signature verification are measured separately. Similar to MLKEM, the signature algorithm MLDSA, formerly known as Crystal's dilithium, is based on the mathematical lattice problem. In order to ensure a broad application of the cryptographic method, MLDSA, which is standardized as FIPS 204, offers 3 different security levels: NIST2, NIST3, and NIST5, which differ in their runtime and memory requirements. The MLDSA is evaluated for the first series of measurements for the digital signatures. This shows that the TC277 again has insufficient memory capacity for the MLDSA5. In contrast, the simpler variants MLDSA2 and MLDSA3 can be calculated. As with the other algorithm, the TC399 can execute all variants of MLDSA to its significant larger scratch pads. The performance advantages are significant due to the improved architecture and higher clock speed. Based on the results obtained, MLDSA is suitable for real-time systems. Also here too, the resource requirements increase with rising security levels. The signature algorithm FNDSA, formerly known as Falcon, standardized as FIPS 206, is the third post-quantum algorithm based on the mathematical lattice problem. In contrast to MLKEM and MLDSA, FNDSA only offers 2 implementation variants for the security levels NIST1 and NIST5, which require more resources as the security level increases. FNDSA cannot be executed on the TC277 in any variant due to its memory requirements. Also, implementation is possible when using global memory. Execution then requires even more time. The more modern TC399 can run both variants of FNDSA, but the runtime for key pair generation and signature calculation are inacceptably high. In contrast, signature verification is very efficient, which allows limited use in embedded systems. After the third round of standardization, NIST has selected 3 signature algorithms to ensure the necessary security in the age of quantum computing. In contrast to the other candidates, SLH-DSA, formerly known as Sphinx Plus, is based on a traditional approach and uses existing hash algorithm for the different variants. With the cryptographic system SLH-DSA, which is specified in the standard FIPS 205, the security levels NIST1, NIST3, and NIST5 can be achieved. Like the FNDSA, the SLH-DSA cannot be executed on the TC277 due to the small scratchpad size. The runtime of the SLH-DSA is extremely high in all variants, both for key pair generation and for signature calculation and verification, which is why the signature algorithm is unsuitable for microcontroller-based systems. Since the SLH-DSA is based on classic cryptographic primitives, hardware accelerators often already exist for these in current systems, which can drastically reduce the runtime. Infineon presents a corresponding paper at last year's Vector Cybersecurity Symposium that is suitable for the Oryx family. The performance gains achieved by using the existing hardware accelerators are significant. With the help of this extension, the use of SLH-DSA may be an option for application in automotive real-time systems. However, it should be noted that the use of hardware accelerators makes the implementation of crypto agility more difficult, and that the implementation of SLH-DSN is then specific to a microcontroller family. The last slide for the signature algorithms show a comparison of the three algorithms selected so far with identical security levels. It clearly shows that MLDSA has the lowest average resource requirements. FNDSA is characterized by its fast signature verification, which make it an alternative to MLA-DSA in embedded systems, depending on the application. Without the appropriate hardware support, SLH-DSA is currently unsuitable for real-time automotive systems. Similar to the KEM algorithm, memory consumption was also measured for the digital signatures. As with the KEM algorithm, the code size remains relatively constant across all three variants of MLDSA. In contrast, the memory requirements for variables, the stack, and constants increase significantly with each additional security level. Stack consumption in specific is a problem with MLDSA. However, if the signature algorithm is only used to verify a software update, this can be ignored. In this system state, only the bootloader is running. The advantage of FNDSA is the lower run consumption compared to MLDSA. Even though it is lower than MLDSA, stack consumption is still very high with this algorithm. As with the other algorithm, the size of the codebase is independent of the security level. In contrast, memory consumption for RAM constants increase significantly depending on the security level. The SLH-DSA is characterized by lower stack consumption. However, the memory requirements for variables are significantly higher than for other algorithms. A special characteristic is the size of the codebase, which is identical only in the two larger variants. In addition to low stack consumption, the SLH-DSA also requires significantly less memory for constants than the other algorithms. This brings us to the end of our presentation, and I would like to conclude with a brief discussion. With the availability of quantum computers, the current asymmetric cryptography no longer offers the necessary security. Due to the lengthy selection process, automotive real-time systems do not have hardware support, which makes implementations in software necessary. Based on the measurements taken so far, it appears that the two algorithms MLKM and MLDSA are most suitable for microcontroller-based systems. Further analysis requires investigations on other microcontroller families. A positive aspect is that there are initial implementations of post-quantum cryptography for automotive systems as open-source solution. One of these open-source solutions is the IAV QuantumSAR software library, which we also used for the measurements in this presentation. IAV QuantumSAR is a fork of PecoClean that has been specially adapted for automotive microcontrollers, which is why the implementation is MISRA C compliant. Currently, the IAV QuantumSAR repository contains all algorithms standardized to date in the C programming language. The AUTOSAR crypto driver has already been implemented but cannot be provided as an open source solution. For this reason, the corresponding repository contains sample code for the integration of these algorithms. Currently, the MLKM, MLDSA, FNDSA, and SLH-DSA algorithms are available in all variants. HQC is also expected to be available later this year. In addition to the implementation in C, we are also working on an implementation in Rust, which will take more time. In addition to the actual algorithms, sample code is also available in the repository, which simplifies the integration. We hope that this presentation will draw more attention to our open source repository. The goal is to continuously improve the codebase so that embedded systems remain protected even in the age of quantum computers. If you have any questions or feedback, we have also set up an email address through which the IAV QuantumSAR can be reached. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our fantastic QuantumSAR team. In addition to Pascal, Martin, and myself, there's an entire development team behind this implementation, which is driving this topic forward with a great deal of commitment and expertise. Thank you all, you are amazing. This brings us to the end of our presentation. We hope we have been able to give you a little insight into our work. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, Martin and Pascal will be happy to answer them.
Great. Now the finally time for the Q&A. I have a long list of questions. I hope we will be able to cover it. Okay, let me take one by one. Did you run any tests of incorporating PQC into the AUTOSAR crypto protocols, examples, ECUs?
No, not yet. So we are planning to do the test, but not for SecuRec because I think it's symmetric cryptography, and the PQC algorithm are for asymmetric cryptography. But of course, we will do tests for integrating into AUTOSAR environments. Currently, we are on the module and software test level.
Okay. Shall I move to the next question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Do you see a scenario where it makes sense to not run the PQC algorithms in the security core of the mentioned devices, especially for the key handling? The HSM should be used for cryptographic processing.
Yeah, of course. So we have some use cases where we only need a public key, like verifying signatures in secure diagnostic or secure update, and of course we can do it in the host device outside of the HSM.
I will move to the next question. Do you use any hardware accelerator supported by MCU to support computing?
No, not
No.
all the measurements were done in a pure software variant.
Okay, I'll move to the next question. How can we check whether our ECU supports the algorithms, say MLKM? Are there hardware specification to look for apart from an official statement from the manufacturer?
Well, if you want, Martin, otherwise I would just take over. Okay. Well, sadly, currently not, but we're working due to our measurements also with different controllers on some benchmarks and trying to give some hints. Okay, what do you need to look for and what might be a good threshold to at least overcome to use quantitative algorithms.
But of course it depends on the needs of the customer. So which the customer needs only one variant of one algorithm. The hardware does not need so much memory and CPU power. So
okay, I'll move to the next question. What are your criteria to decide whether the runtime of a PQC scheme is acceptable or not?
Well, honestly speaking, currently it's mostly based on our measurements and experience on serious development and experience in what time is needed for or is acceptable for some actions. So therefore, we just did a best guess on the definition, what is acceptable and what not.
I'll bring the next question. Under UN R155, what governance and evidence, TARA updates, CSMS control, OTA logs demonstrate a controlled shift from ECC RSA to PQC on classic ECUs?
Well, in the end, you need to update your cybersecurity, and that's what we're also looking at with our firmware security module, where we put the PQC algorithms in it to demonstrate some kind of cybersecurity agility. So if you just ask for what governance and evidence Tara update, CSMS, control, autologs, demonstrator, control shift, you need to adapt your risk model, in my opinion, because at the time when quantum computers are really relevant, then you need to adapt the controls that you need to implement. For example, if you have some asymmetric cryptography, you need to make sure that this is at least a security control that has post-quantum safe algorithms in it. So you need to go through the whole chain, as you already stated.
Thank you. I'll bring another question. Do you have any latest cryptography or homomorphic encryption made available in the latest release?
Yeah, what we implemented in the latest release was, as described in the presentation, the MLKM, the MLDSA, and the ML. We have the official name FN, I think, the Falcon, FNDSA, it's called. So these three algorithms are currently integrated in the AUTOSAR crypto driver, and yeah.
Thank you. I'll bring another question. According to the memory requirements, it seems not suitable to implement such algorithms into an HSR. That means that algorithm shall be executed by the main microcontroller. How to handle it on small microcontrollers such as S32T3?
It's hard to not to explain, but of course the requirements for a microcontroller are extended in comparison to classical cryptographic methods, but it depends on the use case. So if you can handle longer times, of course you can take a small microcontroller, but if you want to have several of the new post-quantum algorithms on your crypto library, I think you need a bigger controller with more memory and better CPU. So it's not for all small microcontrollers suitable.
Thank you. I'll bring another question. Which Infineon Oryx TC series microcontrollers, TC3, TC4, provide built-in support for post-quantum cryptography, and is the TC377 included in that support?
I suppose you mean what we support from our side. So our implementation is hardware independent, and we just took the Aurix TC39 and the TC277 for our measurements, but in generally it's no hardware dependency or in this cryptographic library.
Yeah, at least to my knowledge, Philip is expert on it. Neither of both have a built-in hardware acceleration or anything providing post-quantum cryptography. So that was also the reason why we decided to set up a software solution. While we are also working on the on benchmarks for the TC4XX.
Thank you. I'll move to the next question. Are SC Linux and trusted execution environments still the best available as of now?
Well, to be honest, depends on the use case. So to be honest, I can hardly put it in relation to now our PQC algorithm on embedded controllers. At least, yes, the TE is what is implemented or what we implemented here. But that depends on the use case. Martin, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, usually trusted execution environments are encapsulated in hardware and need special hardware functions, but they are low performant against the host controller. And so it's hard to say because, of course, post-quantum cryptographic needs performance. We saw it in the presentation, what we need in memory and CPU and in runtime. And so, yeah, we didn't try it to put it into an TE, but of course, somebody can try it with a small variant of this crypto driver with maybe just one algorithm or something like that. And of course, we will also have our tests and will collect experiences in it.
I'll just refresh and see any questions come up. Okay, I think we have covered all the questions from the audience. If anybody has, please feel free to paste. We still have a couple of minutes. And if not, then I would really like to thank you, our speakers. Thank you so much for bringing a lot of information and summarizing into a very short session. And it is like a lot of information which still needs to be processed. And I would really like to thank you, our audience as well, where they have made it very interactive. A lot of interesting questions they have asked it, and hope to see you in the next sessions. Please keep enjoying it with that. Thank you so much, all. Hope to see you in the next session.
Thank you also from our side.
Thank you very much.